22. Corresponding Section 3, corresponding 22nd Sutra, the Grandmother Sutra. In Sravasti, the world-honored one spoke to King Pasenadi of Kosala, who was sitting to one side. "Great king, where have you come from at this time?" King Pasenadi replied, "Venerable one, my grandmother has passed away. She was very old, frail, and in the late stage of life. She lived to be 120 years old. Venerable one, I loved my grandmother dearly. She was very important to me. If I could exchange a precious elephant for my grandmother not dying, I would do so without hesitation. If I could exchange a precious horse for my grandmother not dying, I would do that too. If I could exchange an excellent village for my grandmother not dying, I would also do that. Even if I could exchange a whole region for my grandmother not dying, I would do so." The world-honored one said, "Great king, all beings have the nature of death. All end in death, and no one can surpass death." King Pasenadi said, "Venerable one, it's incredible. It's marvelous. The world-honored one has spoken so well. All beings have the nature of death. All end in death, and no one can surpass death." The world-honored one said, "Indeed, great king, indeed. All beings have the nature of death. All end in death, and no one can surpass death. Just as all vessels made by a potter, whether unfired or fired, have the nature of breaking, all end in breaking, and none can escape the fate of breaking. Similarly, great king, all beings have the nature of death, all end in death, and no one can surpass death." The world-honored one then spoke these verses. "All beings will die. Life ends in death. They will go to different places according to their karma, experiencing the fruits of good or evil deeds. Those who do evil will descend to hell. Those who do good will be reborn in good realms. Therefore, one should do many good deeds, accumulating merit for the next life. For in the next world, good deeds will be the being's support." This sutra profoundly expounds on the impermanence of life and the workings of karma, while also revealing a wise attitude towards death. Let's analyze it layer by layer. 1. Human nature and emotions. King Pasenadi's deep affection for his grandmother reflects the most sincere emotions in human nature. His willingness to exchange precious possessions for his grandmother's life demonstrates a universal human sentiment. This makes us ponder. When facing the death of loved ones, we often feel helpless and sad. Does this emotion also reflect our misunderstanding of the essence of life? 2. The impermanence of life. The Buddha points out that all beings have the nature of death, which is a universal truth. This makes us consider, since death is inevitable, how should we view life? How can we create value in our limited lifespan? 3. The process of enlightenment. King Pasenadi's transition from grief to understanding the Buddha's words shows a person's transformation from emotional dominance to rational thinking. This inspires us. Facing the truth of life requires courage and wisdom. 4. The power of metaphor. The Buddha uses the metaphor of pottery to illustrate the fragility of life, making abstract concepts easy to understand. This reminds us that appropriate metaphors can be highly effective in understanding and spreading wisdom. 5. Karma and cause-effect. The verses emphasize the role of karma, pointing out that our actions determine our future destinations. This prompts us to reflect. Are our daily actions and decisions aligned with the future we desire? 6. The importance of accumulating good deeds. The final teaching emphasizes the importance of doing good. This is not only for the next life, but also for current peace of mind and social harmony. Deep reflection. This sutra reveals the essence of life and the meaning of human existence. Faced with impermanence, we should not fall into nihilism, but rather cherish the present and strive to create value. Death is not the end, but a reminder to live in the present. How should we pursue infinite meaning in a finite life? How can we cultivate wisdom and compassion in daily life? These questions are worth our deep contemplation. Ultimately, this sutra tells us, true wisdom is not about avoiding death, but accepting it calmly and using it as motivation to live a meaningful life. seeking eternity in impermanence and pursuing infinity in finiteness. This is the life wisdom that the Buddha teaches us.